Hi, this is Dr. Barrett Givens from the Department of Mathematics and Statistics at Cal Poly Pomona. This is part of my series of videos on what to expect as we move to semester conversion next year, and this video in particular is about the pure option courses. So just to review, in another video I talk about the core courses and what happens with those. So these are the current required core courses of all math majors on quarters. And what this is going to be turning into looks like this with the semester core courses. There's fewer courses because each one lasts over a longer number of weeks, but it's roughly about the same topics. Now, in addition to taking all of these core courses, every student is in either the pure/secondary teacher prep option, or they are in the applied mathematics/statistics option. And under quarters, whichever option you're in, you are required to take 6 option courses. Under semesters, the new rule is going to be 16 semester units of option courses. So instead of stating how many courses, we're saying how many units. And these are actually equivalent because currently students are required to take 6 courses. Each is 4 units, so that's 24 quarter units. And when you do the conversion, 24 times 2/3, that's the same as 16 semester units. So we really aren't changing the number of option courses required. Now, it's important to note that transition students, which is the students that are partly on quarters and then partly on semesters, may need to take a different number. They may need to take 15 semester units, they may need to take 18 semester units of option courses. It all depends upon which core courses you take on quarters versus which core courses you take on semesters. I have another video about that, which you can view, or you may need to meet with an advisor to work out exactly how many semester units of option courses that you need. Here is the list of the pure option courses. These are the courses that every student in the pure/secondary teacher prep option has to choose 6 of these courses. Now let's see what's going to happen as we go to semesters. So here we go. And what you can see, first of all, that every quarter course has a 3-digit number and a semester course has a 4-digit number. And when you see something like, for example, if we look at history of math, it was 306. Now it's going to be 3060. We just stuck an O on the end. And it went from 4 units to 3 units. When you see those two things together, that the new number is basically the old number with a 0 at the end, and it went from a 4-unit course to a 3-unit course, you can assume that it's pretty much mostly unchanged. That's mostly a direct conversion. So another example here would be number theory went from 325 to 3250. Another example is the differential geometry going from 420 to 4200. Now some courses went from a 4-unit course and they still are a 4-unit course. The examples there would be the Euclidean geometry 330 is becoming 3300. 419 is becoming 4190. They're both 4 units. In that case, there's actually a significant amount of material being added to those courses because they're going to be 5 weeks longer, but the same number of hours per week. And then you can also see that some courses were eliminated. Math 413, which was sort of the third real analysis course, is being eliminated. Math 429, complex analysis 2, is also being eliminated. That's partly because some of the material from that course has been put into the core in the new 4280. And then the Foundations of Math course, Math 450, that one's also being eliminated. Now let's also look at what's going to happen with the prerequisites. So if you look over here on the right, these are the quarter prerequisites. Most of these prerequisites are either 310 or the 208 or 214, 215. So now let's see what happens with the semester prerequisites. The ones that I've shown in green, essentially those prerequisites are unchanged. So for example, combinatorics used to have a prerequisite of 208, which was linear algebra. The new prerequisite will be 2250, which is linear algebra and differential equations. The ones that are in blue, those prerequisites have been changed. As an example, number theory and graph theory are both going to have 3100, aka 310, as prerequisites, so that students have a bit more of a head start on how to read and write proofs before taking those courses. Topology is going to have the real analysis course as a prerequisite, which those of you who have taken topology, I think will all agree is a very positive choice for that class. On the other hand, the differential geometry class has had a prerequisite eliminated, and it's a little bit easier to get into that class now. Okay, and then for the last class, the 497 or the 4960, I've just put some stars because the prerequisite for those courses is sort of complicated, and you should just go look in the catalog and see what it is. Now, some of you might be kind of bummed out about these other courses being eliminated, but don't worry. There are 2 new courses being added to the list to make up for the loss of those courses. Real Analysis 2 and Abstract Algebra 2. So these are similar to the current 315, 418, which are required now. They're not going to be required anymore on semesters, but they will be option courses, and they have the natural prereq. Just as 314 is a prereq for 315, 3140 will be the prereq for 3150. Okay, so you might want to pause the video here, look at the list of all of these courses, and think about what you need to take so that you can plan out your next couple years and graduate on time. Thanks for listening, and I hope this video was helpful.